entries or multiple people with 150 entries, where you can get into management-free contests, I should say. No management fee whatsoever if you get in early in the morning. And even when they do, it's the lowest management fees in the industry. Tonight, the 12K or the 10K MLB guaranteed. All of these guarantees, again, guaranteed to run even if they don't fill. And some solid PGA contests that Yahoo has been running from week to week. But the best part is you can get $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points, them YSRPs, when you sign up through us at awesemo.com. And because we can't post the link in YouTube, I'm going to tell you how to do it. It's very simple. Pay attention so you can get your $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points, which are as good as cash to play on the site. You couldn't go to 7-Eleven and buy a Slurpee with it, but you can if you use it and then win, because then you can withdraw it. So again, it's a win-win. Go to awesemo.com. Click on the free Spotlight Hitters article on the homepage, totally free, along with a lot of our other content. And you'll see the link right there up top to Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Click it. When you sign up, use the sign-up code AWESEMO and get your $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points. We hope to see you over there, Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, the sponsor of the Deeper Dive. Fellas, how we doing today?
Doing good, man. Any day Sonny Gray pitches is a good day.
All right. Well, we got Dave Lochran, that's myself. We've got Alex Baker, and we've got Adam Scher, and we've got a 7-game slate. Alex, any initial thoughts on this one? Pitching's kind of weird. I guess it's okay, but it seems like it's going to be concentrated between like 3 or 4 maybe pitchers, all up there around 25-30%, at least on 2 pitcher sites.
Yeah, I think that there really aren't very many viable options tonight for pitcher, and that should make the game theory a little bit more in play here. So that'll be really interesting to talk about.
All right, let's jump into it. Washington, Atlanta. Adam, we've got Patrick Korbin. We have Dallas Keuchel coming off a 12 strikeout performance, 6 innings, 2 earned runs here. Well, tell me this much. Do you see a repeat performance from Dallas Keuchel today?
I really don't want to talk about it because it'll happen if I do. But no, I don't really view the Nats in the same tier as the Kansas City Royals without a designated hitter and without Adalberto Mondesi. You have a really right-handed heavy lineup here, a lot of good righties, a lot of guys with Turner, Rendon, Kendrick, that don't really strike out that easily. Even after striking out 12 or whatever it was in 6 innings, it got Keuchel's strikeout percentage all the way up to about 18.5%. So still not really that guy, and his price tag certainly didn't take a hit. So I will not be going there.
Alex, I have quite a bit of interest in Washington just because of their power and ability versus lefties. Dallas Keuchel's clearly not the worst lefty in baseball, but he's not great. And outside of that 12 strikeout game, he's not someone that I expect to miss a ton of bats. What's your take on Keuchel here and the Washington offense? We'll cover Patrick Korbin after this.
Yeah, I think that Keuchel still not really good enough at strikeouts to consider tonight. Even with that 12 strikeout performance, his percentage is only 19 on the season, which is significantly below average. And he's facing a tough offense that is a minus to strikeouts as well, so he's not really on my radar. Oh, shit, I gotta keep the air because Laffy is out here. So I think I'll be more inclined to go to Patrick Korbin on the other side because this is a guy who's struck out 29% on the year. He is facing a team in Atlanta that's definitely tougher, definitely a tough matchup, I guess I should say. But the strikeout matchup is actually a lot better than average because Dallas Keuchel is so bad at the plate. I gotta pull up these numbers here and double check it because this is really throwing me off here. But so Dallas Keuchel has he's struck out 68% of the time this year, over 16 plate appearances. And if you project it for a couple plate appearances, you gotta like that for Korbin.
So pretty much a free strikeout there, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Adam, what are your thoughts on Korbin? When I wrote the deep dive today, you can find that on awesemo.com, of course. Use the promo code DEEPERDIVE, one word, when you sign up to get 50% off your first month. When I wrote them up, or when I wrote the deep dive, there was one thing that was pretty clear. Patrick Korbin and Caleb Smith don't have optimal matchups. They're both very talented. We'll get to Caleb Smith shortly. He has the highest K rate and a bunch of other numbers on this slate that are conducive to fantasy production. But Korbin is also one of these guys that is a high upside pitcher, can give you double-digit strikeouts. But and I know Alex mentioned some additional strikeouts for Atlanta, but I don't want to ignore that this is a really, really potent team, particularly against lefties with a ton of power. So where do you fall on a guy like Patrick Korbin?
A lot for me is going to depend on ownership here because there are a couple things that scare me. And for one, Corbin's expensive. I mean, he's the most expensive pitcher on DraftKings. He's the most expensive pitcher on FanDuel, and he's second to Chris Paddock on Yahoo. So it's not like we're getting any sort of a discount here. And while there are some strikeouts in the Atlanta lineup, like Alex mentioned, you have Keuchel, but you also do have Austin Riley in there. You have about a 22.5% strikeout percentage from Adam Duvall, who's now in the lineup. Flowers up around 24%. But every single hitter in the Atlanta lineup, with the exception of Keuchel, since the start of the 2017 season, the lowest WRC plus against left-handed pitching for anyone in this lineup is Adam Duvall at 109. So it's a really, really dangerous lineup. Every hitter in the lineup, except for Flowers, has an ISO over 200 against left-handed pitching over that time. And Korbin this year has struck out 26.1% of righties, 188 expected ISO. So he has good numbers, but they're not, off the charts like they are against lefties. And he's facing an entirely right-handed heavy lineup with tons of power. So I think it's a really scary spot. Right now we have him projected in the same ownership range, like on DraftKings as Paddock and as Sonny Gray, and more popular than Caleb Smith. So if that's the case, I think that I probably come in maybe a little bit under the field. And I do think that will be the case too. I actually was doing some drafts earlier today, and he was consistently the number one pitcher taken by the field. So whatever projections people tend to be using have him, I guess, higher than everyone else, even without factoring in salary. So I do think he'll be highly owned, and I think it's a really scary spot.
All right. Yeah, I have some concerns as well, but he is a high upside guy. What are your thoughts on the Washington bats, Adam?
I like both offenses in this game. Atlanta, for all the reasons I just said, for why I was scared of Korbin, but also the Nats. You're getting a pitcher in Keuchel who he's good at preventing runs. So far this year, he has a 3.94 xFIP. So it seems like maybe he's still good at preventing runs, but he lets you put the ball in play. It's 90 plus degrees in Washington. There's a ton of right-handed power in this lineup, and they're affordably priced. And then the lefties, well, Soto, isn't bad against lefties anyway. Adam Eaton's whatever, but he's hitting second. I just think it's a spot where maybe people will stay away a little bit away from both offenses because they respect the opposing pitchers. But I think there's a lot of upside for both teams.
Yeah, Alex, do you have any interest in Atlanta here? If you take a look at this team, one thing that stands out is outside of Ronald Acuna, they are a lot of these guys are discounted. I mean, Flowers is very cheap. Freeman's 4,500, granted lefty, but Albies batting second, much better from the right side of the plate, 3,800 on DraftKings. Donaldson, 42. Camargo at 2,600 batting sixth. Austin Riley batting seventh at 3,700. And, of course, Adam Duvall batting fifth at 36. They are a very, very cheap team tonight. What does our stack ownership look like on them, and how do you feel about the Braves against Patrick Korbin in a very hot Nationals park?
Yeah, let me update it. I think that the low prices are definitely driving ownership over to these to the Braves. The matchup versus Korbin is not ideal, and I'm not sure if his ownership is really high enough to justify a leverage stack. So I think that, given that Atlanta has a sub-5 team total and pretty high ownership, I'm not super keen on them tonight. But I mean, there's a pretty decent chance they will be a high scoring team.
Adam, thoughts on the Braves? I know you just kind of alluded to the fact that there might be some upside here, but they are cheap, so I think we at least talk about them.
Yeah, I like them because if you pull up the individual ownerships for Atlanta, there's really three guys driving the high ownership, and it makes sense because one is $2,600 Johan Camargo, with multi-position eligibility. One is Tyler Flowers is a really cheap catcher option, and then Ozzie Albies from the right side of the plate where he's really good at second base. But beyond that, the guys that like you would pay for, Acuna is not really projected to be that popular. Neither is Donaldson. Freeman's lefty, so he probably won't be, even though it's one of the cheaper price tags you're ever going to get on Freeman. And then, Austin Riley, Adam Duvall, both projected for low ownership. So I think that there's a lot of ways that you can get to this stack and still be contrarian, whether that's, fading Albies, fading Camargo, fading Flowers. You can get to these lower owned guys that still give you a lot of upside.
All right. And before we move on, Alex, because this game has a lot to discuss on both sides, whether we love them or not, there's a lot to talk about. Did you want to add to anything in terms of Washington batters?
Yeah, I think Washington definitely one of the well-priced teams today, and the ownership's going to be pretty high as well. So I think that they make a nice tournament lineup, and there may be some cash plays like Howie Kendrick on FanDuel and Yahoo where he's super cheap, but I don't see a tremendous edge as far as game theory here.
All right, fair enough. Let's stay with you on the next game, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. We've got Sonny Gray and what is it, Alex McRae now?
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. So let's start with Sonny McRae. Let's start with Sonny Gray, Alex. This is not an easy matchup. And I think a lot of the good pitchers on this slate in one form or another have difficult matchups. Like you could certainly make arguments against all of these pitchers. I could even make, depending on what the lineup looks like for Baltimore, granted, really like Chris Paddock, but I could even make an argument against him based on the amount of lefties in this lineup. I see you shaking your head, Adam. I think you know what I'm talking about, even though he's the best pitching option on this, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't even want to get into the lineup, you can just say Paddock's not going to throw 100 pitches and he's 10.2K.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And we'll get into that, but I just kind of want to illustrate what we're dealing with here. Alex, the interesting thing is it seems like Pittsburgh is keen to Sonny Gray's splits against lefties because generally they've been running out like 5 lefties in the top, or 5 or 6 lefties. I think they only have 4 total lefties in the lineup today. Maybe that's just the way it shook out, but I don't know. What do you think of this lineup for Sonny Gray and this matchup?
I think it's a tough matchup for sure. Of the 9 people in the order, the first 8 have below average strikeouts outside the pitcher slot. So as a team, I have them as a pretty bad strikeout matchup, 20% less than average. So Sonny Gray is a guy who he's been on a good streak of going pretty deep in games, but over the course of the year, he hasn't gone super deep, only averaging a little bit more than 22 batters a game, which is pretty low for a high-priced pitcher. But when you add it all up in context, I think that there aren't a lot of great high-priced options on the slate, so I can see myself ending up on him a decent amount, but I don't love it.
Okay, Sonny Gray right now, 3rd highest projected owned pitcher on DraftKings. Adam, 3rd highest player overall, 23%. On FanDuel, Sonny Gray is coming in at 14%, which is, decent ownership on FanDuel for a pitcher. Right now, 2nd highest owned pitcher behind only Chris Paddock. And then finally, over on our sponsor, Yahoo, he's at 26%. He's behind right now a bunch of other pitchers, but not by much once you take guys like Jaime Barea and Korbin out of the mix. I know you're a Sonny Gray truther, and I don't blame you for it, but I do think we break this match. We need to break this matchup down as much as possible because it is Great American. It is hot. It is a low strikeout team. They only have 4 lefties. So how do you deal with something like this?
Yeah, so I mean, it's an unappealing matchup, like you said and like Alex said, but all the matchups, with the exception of the Orioles, for these good pitchers are unappealing. And Gray is the cheapest out of the group. He's less expensive than Smith and Korbin and Paddock. He has the 2nd highest strikeout percentage on the slate this year at 28.7%. He has the best xFIP at 3.35. Yep. No one's even really close. Patrick Corbin's next at 3.64.
And second fewest home runs allowed per 9 as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned, the right-handed heavy lineup. Corey Dickerson being injured and not being in this lineup is still a benefit for Gray, and he's been really good against righties. He struck out 27% of righties compared to 30.8% of lefties, but he's held righties to a 271 expected WOBA, 111 expected ISO, lefties 284 and 143 respectively. So, the production numbers have been even better against righties than lefties. He's been really good against both sides. Strikeout numbers are still really good. Not having one of the better hitters on the Pirates in the lineup certainly doesn't hurt. So it's a scary matchup, but I think that relative to the other ace type pitchers on the slate, he's also the most favorably priced. I wish his ownership would come down a little bit because, again, it's just a matchup I don't feel great about, but you have to roster pitching somewhere on this slate, and I'll keep going to Sonny Gray because I've been there all year and I'm not going to stop on a slate like this.
So would you say talent and and price tag supersedes matchup today?
Yeah, I think so. I think that he's had the best year out of any of the pitchers on the slate, and he's also the most affordable. Like if he were, 10.8 and Korbin were 9,400, I would have a hard time getting to Korbin over Gray or to Gray over Korbin. But that's not how it worked out, and Gray came in as the lowest priced guy, so I'm going to end up getting there.
All right, what are your thoughts on hitters here? You've got McRae on the opposite side of this game, toeing the rubber for Pittsburgh. We saw the Reds total shoot all the way up above 6. And by the way, Gray is now a 224 favorite, huge favorite, but also expected to see quite a bit of run support for this, middling Cincinnati team that still has some quality hitters. Where do the Reds fall into the mix for you today?
I think it's obviously a good matchup. You're facing a pitcher in Alex McRae who wasn't particularly great at AAA, and now he's going into Great American to face Cincinnati. The thing that kind of deters me from the Reds is that overall they're not a great offense, and unlike Atlanta, where if you look at the top stack tool, they project to be one of the highest owned teams, but it's because they're being driven by 3 players. If you look at the Reds, who are projected to be the second highest owned team on DraftKings behind the Dodgers, if you look at the individual hitters, the only 2 hitters in the lineup with less than a 10% ownership projection on DraftKings are Suarez at 9% and Iglesias at 6%. I'm not really that interested in rostering Iglesias anyway. And all the guys that I would want to roster from Cincinnati are just really, really popular. So I'm going to be competing with a ton of teams when there are other offenses I can go to. I think they're a team that offers a lot of cash plays, whether that's Josh Van Meter, Scooter Gennett, the 2 that really stick out. Joey Votto is certainly in play as a first base option. But I just think that they're going to have a lot of ownership where I could just move some of that ownership to, Coors Field or the Nats or the Braves and get a better offense at lower ownership.
All right. Do you feel the same way, Alex, or are you different?
I think the bottom line, I agree with the overall analysis. I think that they're just super, super high owned. They're priced as if they're going to be facing Jordan Lyles, but they're facing a much worse pitcher. And the ownership's just going to be way too high for a team that, they're in a great spot, 6.3 projected runs tonight. But there's still a pretty good chance of them failing. And if everyone else is betting that they'll succeed, then it makes sense to bet they'll fail.
Okay. The other side, any interest in Pittsburgh?
Oh, not really. I think that one of the lower team totals facing a good pitcher, the ownership of Sonny Gray is going to be super high for the leverage. And I don't think that paying for cheap stacks is going to be a great strategy tonight, just given that the best value pitchers are probably the cheapest.
Anything else you want to add on this game?
Yeah, I guess if I had to make a cash lineup, it'd probably have at least 4 or 5 Reds.
Adam?
No.
All right. We keep moving forward here. Only 7 games today, so we can spend a good amount of time on each. Miami and Arizona. Alex, Caleb Smith, and Merrill Kelly. When a couple of things in today's article that I kind of drove home were and Alex or Adam mentioned it just a moment ago. Sometimes there are spots where you kind of just have to go with the talent over the matchup. Now, that's not to say you have to do that with everybody, but look, the Diamondbacks have crushed lefties this season. They do not have a very high K rate, especially against southpaws, but Smith has a slate high 31% K rate. Adam, you mentioned it. Sonny Gray's second, but he's 2.5% behind Caleb Smith. He's second in swinging strikes on this slate, second in called plus swinging strikes. He's got another thing that always stands out to me is he's only allowed 3 of his 16 home runs at home, and this park has really helped to suppress power against Caleb Smith, which has been an issue. Talk to me about where you're at on somebody like him, who's obviously one of the most talented pitchers on this slate, does have the highest K rate. But again, the third guy now that we've talked about in only 3 games that does have a pretty tough on paper matchup.
Yeah, I think that the price tag just being super high on DraftKings is definitely a deterrent. I probably look to him more on FanDuel and Yahoo, where he's a little bit cheaper. Because Caleb Smith, I mean, a great pitcher, but he just doesn't go deep in games like some of the other guys. On average, he's in the 22 range per game as opposed to 25 being kind of a standard for ace pitchers. The matchup isn't great. I have the Diamondbacks lineup tonight striking out about 10% less than average. And, I think still a good spot for Caleb Smith, and it's kind of like the price dictating whether I might have him or not.
Okay. Adam, do you feel the same or differently?
I feel pretty similarly. It's not like he has a really easy matchup here either, and he is expensive. He leads the slate in strikeout percentage, like you said, but there's a lot of right-handed power in this Arizona lineup and not a lot of strikeouts. Also, I can't find anywhere whether or not the roof is open or closed. So if anyone can find that, that would be useful here, because if it's open, if it's open, it's obviously a negative for Smith. But for the season against righties, really good strikeout numbers, but he has allowed a 210 expected ISO. So facing guys like Ketel Marte, Escobar, Walker, Jones, Flores, who's really cheap across the industry, even Nick Ahmed and Carson Kelly, decent right-handed bats at pretty weak positions. I don't love the spot for Smith, but you do have to obviously roster, pitching. So right now on DraftKings, I have him projected for the same amount of points as Chris Paddock. He's a little bit more expensive. He'll be lower owned. So, basically I have Paddock, Korbin, Smith, and Gray all in the same ballpark. So a lot will come down to projected ownership.
Okay. So you just gave that take. Let me get your take after. So right now, with the ownership that we currently have, okay, I want to update. Okay, so last update was an hour ago, so not long ago. On DraftKings, those guys in order of highest to lowest ownership: Paddock 26, Gray 23, Korbin 19, Caleb Smith 15. So that's what you have on DraftKings. On FanDuel, among the 4 guys that we've talked about, 3 of them: Paddock 22, Gray 14, Korbin 13. Smith 13. They are in 1, 2, 3, 4 order of where they'll be owned today too. The 4 highest owned pitchers, and then finally on Yahoo, it's Korbin 30%, Paddock 26, very expensive, Gray 26, and Smith 25. Adam, just your thoughts on where they're currently at, if that stands.
Yeah. So I think that Smith coming in at, what was he, 15?
On DraftKings.
Yeah. So I think I would kind of get a little bit more of that, maybe at the expense of like Korbin or Paddock.
How much is ownership for these 4 guys factoring in for you, Alex, being that, Paddock, Smith, Gray, and Korbin, all of them are pretty close outside of Korbin on DraftKings, or sorry, Smith on DraftKings?
Yeah, that's it's going to be a situation where there is no real consensus play, I guess. So I think that just playing your favorite of those guys probably is a strategy that makes sense to me. I think it's worth noting that the highest owned pitcher on DraftKings is David Hesse in our projection.
Yep.
Which is it's kind of amusing, but I kind of like it tonight. I'll get there, but I think the strategy tonight plays more into paying up for bats.
Do you like, speaking of hitters, well, you know what? No, let's talk about Merrill Kelly first. Do you have any interest in a pitcher in Merrill Kelly who doesn't have very high strikeout rate, very pedestrian, 21.2%, I think, against righties, but also gives up a lot of power, facing a Miami team that strikes out at a high clip against righties and also boasts very little power against righties. Is Merrill Kelly worth paying for on a site like DraftKings, or are you targeting him anywhere tonight?
So I think that it's interesting that the Marlins have the second lowest team total of the night. I mean, that might be a reason why you might be interested in Kelly, given that he's not super expensive. But as you mentioned, not a good strikeout guy. The Marlins lineup, while it's not like it doesn't have power, it has about average strikeouts, and I think that you can probably find some more strikeouts with other pitchers. So I'm not super interested, but I think that his price tag at 36 on Yahoo is pretty interesting. On FanDuel 7,800, decently appealing. But on DraftKings at 8,200, you're kind of in a situation where he doesn't really work as an SP2 to one of the high price guys, and having him as SP1 is not very palatable.
Follow-up thoughts on Merrill Kelly, Adam?
He said exactly what I was going to say pretty much. It's not a guy that is really exciting to roster as your SP1, and it doesn't really work that well as an SP2. There's guys that are cheaper that either have more talent if you're willing to go to Coors Field, or are just better point per dollar options just going down to the bottom, whether it's David Hesse or even Alex McRae at 4K. So it's likely that Kelly has a pretty good start, but he's just not the type of pitcher that is all that volatile because he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. And his range of outcomes is just kind of skewed toward not really outproducing his salary on any site.
Do you have any interest in any hitters from this game?
I have interest in Arizona. Wilmer Flores is 3K on DraftKings. I think he's 2K on FanDuel. Second base, batting sixth, has some power. Christian Walker is affordable. So it's not like a favorite stack or anything. They have one of the lower implied run totals on the slate, but they do have some cheap right-handed power.
All right. Alex, close this game out for us. Any other hitters you want to discuss here?
I think Tim Castro on FanDuel and Yahoo leading off for near the minimum is in play. It's just kind of a salary filler or a cash play. And then on the other side, Curtis Granderson is really inexpensive on all three sites, and not having a great season, but he's got decent power.
All right. Adam, we've got Kansas City and Toronto, Brad Keller, Thomas Pannone. Well, this is a beautiful pitching matchup that we have on our hands here. 5.1 implied total for Kansas City, 4.5 for the Blue Jays. Royals are minus 127 here at home. Are you interested in any pitching from this game? I know earlier there was actually a little bit of Keller ownership on DraftKings, and man, at 8,400, this guy is still projected at 16% today.
Yeah, I had some interest in Pannone on the show with Jake this morning, but that changes a bit now that we have two 4K pitchers. I thought that he was an interesting pivot to Jordan Lyles when Lyles was going to get a lot of ownership. Obviously, he was traded. He's not pitching anymore. Now you can just save money and roster a similarly projected guy. So I don't really have interest there. And then Brad Keller is essentially the same to me as Merrill Kelly, except the matchup is even less appealing. Toronto is not, a great offense, obviously, but they're more dangerous than Miami is. And they're out in, heat and humidity, whereas Miami, I'm guessing based on the implied run totals, is inside, but I still don't know. But Keller, is not a high strikeout guy, decent at preventing runs, doesn't give up a lot of homers, but, double-digit walk percentage, 16.5% strikeout percentage. If he were 6,500 or something like that, he's the kind of pitcher that I wouldn't mind going to on this slate. But at 8,400, you basically need like a season high in strikeouts from him, or you just need him to be really efficient, go 7-8 innings and pick up points that way. And I'll just take my chances that he doesn't do that at 8,400.
Okay. Are you taking your chances that he doesn't do it at 8,400 as well, Alex?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, of the mid-range options, I haven't projected kind of the lowest, I guess, because just doesn't get a lot of strikeouts. The team total opposing him is pretty high. The Blue Jays lineup has a decent ability to get on base, a little bit above average power, a little bit above average strikeouts. So not really a great matchup. I think that it makes a lot more sense to pay down for a cheaper guy that, or up for a better talent.
Okay. Hitters, though. Alex, you got a pretty high total, like I said, for Kansas City. I mean, it's nothing outrageous given the trends that we've seen in 2019 in the juiced ball era. But the Kansas City Royals are above 5 runs here. Do they stand out to you as a formidable stack tonight?
I think that they're in play. I think that the team total is decent, but it's being overshadowed by some others like Coors Field. The values are all solid, so I think you can make some nice projected lineups with the Royals. So I like it.
Okay. What about you, Adam? Hitters from this one on either side?
I think that Merrifield, Dozier, and Soler make for a pretty nice mini stack. You could certainly throw in like Cuthbert and Starling or something like that if you wanted to round it out. Not the highest upside team, especially just the way they play is really frustrating too. Like they love the bunt. They just kind of kill your rallies a lot of the time, which really sucks for DFS. On the other side, Toronto, I really like their pricing for how much power they have. They also just called up one of their top prospects in Bo Bichette, batting 6th, not in the player pool on FanDuel, 3,700 on DraftKings, and on Yahoo he is $12. So pretty affordably priced. But Toronto's a team that doesn't have a lot of great on-base guys. They do have a lot of power, and the one thing Keller is good at is kind of limiting power. So kind of a not ideal matchup for them. I don't mind getting there still, with some one-offs just because of how cheap guys are like Guerrero, Smoke, Grichuk, Bichette, all that have power, but not one of my favorite spots.
All right. Yeah, I guess this game would seemingly be more appealing on a 7-game slate, but I guess not, Alex. We still haven't gotten to a couple of the teams that are probably going to be very appealing, and we haven't gotten to Coors Field yet either.
Yeah, I'll echo Adam's analysis of Bo Bichette being kind of interesting, though. Like, this is a guy, he has decent power, and he has immense stolen base upside. Almost 1 in every 4 games, it looks like he got a stolen base in AAA, so that really adds up to some nice potential.
And he just has a cool name.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Rockies and the Dodgers. Adam, we have ourselves Kenta Maeda, John Gray. Look, 2 good pitchers, no question. John Gray at home this year at Coors Field actually hasn't been bad at all either, allowing only 7 home runs, 55 innings, which, given the conditions there is not bad. But, if you could dream up or in a nightmare situation for Gray, think of a lineup that you wouldn't want to face. I mean, this is just murderer's row of quality hitters, particularly from the left side, but you still have Justin Turner batting 3rd. AJ Pollock certainly isn't a slouch. I mean, Verdugo's batting 7th. Like, this is just such a terrifying lineup if you're an opposing righty, despite what your splits may look like in 2019.
Yeah, I'm really torn on how to approach Gray in tournaments because he certainly projects poorly. He's facing a team with a 7 implied run total. It's a team that doesn't strike out a lot and is one of the most powerful offenses in baseball. But with it being a 7-game slate, ownership just becomes more concentrated. And when you look at just pure pitching talent, Gray is better than any pitcher remotely close to him. And we know that a lot of ownership's going to the Dodgers. So in top-heavy, large field tournaments, I don't totally hate the idea of getting to some Gray. I mean, he has the 6th highest strikeout percentage on the slate. He has a sub-4 xFIP. At home this year, it's below 4 as well. It's not likely that he has a good game, but in lineups where you don't have Dodgers, kind of like the easiest way to jump those teams up the leaderboard is to have the $6,600 really talented pitcher that shuts down the Dodgers. So I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure exactly where I'll get to, but I think that you can at least make a game theory case for him in large field tournaments.
Can you make a case for John Gray, Alex?
I'll make the case for not playing him then. I think,
fair enough. Dissension is good. We like dissension.
Yeah, the over-under for the first 5 innings is 7.5 in this game, with the Dodgers being favored, and that means I have John Gray giving up 4.6 runs in the first 5 innings on average. So you're going to have, the fact that if he goes above average in strikeouts, maybe like he limits runs a little bit more is positive. But this guy's baseline is just so low today. Like the team total of the Dodgers is 7.5, one of the highest on any slate. So I mean, despite the talent, like this is one of the worst spots that a pitcher could be in.
So talk to me about where you're at on the Dodger bats then, as a little transition here.
I think they're definitely going to be heavily owned in my lineups because, I mean, the ownership is good, but they're priced up just enough that they're not going to dominate the optimizers tonight. And I think that you're going to have to pick some pitchers that you don't really like to get there, which might discourage people some more. And the ownership, it's kind of in line with some other teams tonight, like the Rockies, like the Reds. So I think that when you have a team projected for 7.5 runs and the ownership is palatable, I mean, I like that a lot.
Okay. Adam, I guess I'll ask you about Kenta Maeda first. If you have nothing there, feel free to move straight into bats.
Kenta Maeda is basically the same argument from me as Jon Gray, where he doesn't project well. He does have a much better matchup against Colorado, but the problem is that there's 5 lefties in the lineup for Colorado. He has about a 20% strikeout percentage against lefties. He's up over 30% against righties. It's just really hard to roster pitchers in Coors Field this year. Already it was a tough place to pitch, obviously, but now you have the ball flying more. You have close to 90-degree temperatures today, so it's still just a really, really tough spot to get to him outside of potential game theory arguments. But I do think that and no Charlie Blackmon in the lineup, I guess, helps Maeda as well. David Dahl leading off, I think, is a really strong play. He's affordable, left-handed. You get Ryan McMahon with a lineup bump up to 5th, makes him a pretty appealing option as well.
What do you make of the fact that the Dodgers on our top stack tool, which, by the way, if you have the Awesemo Plus membership or Awesemo subscription, you have this. You have the stack tool, the ownership projections, the player projections, all of the behind paywall articles, and content for every sport. If DraftKings or FanDuel or Yahoo offers it, we've got content. Fantasy Cruncher add-on, the lineup builder, Data Central. There's so much here. Head over to awesemo.com and check it out. And if you feel like you want to sign up, you want to dip your feet in, you'll get 50% off your first month simply by using the sign-up code Deeper Dive, all one word, Deeper Dive. Get the tools that the top player in DFS, that fine fella right there, you're looking at him. Alex, not Adam, created and uses every day for himself. Deeper Dive is the sign-up code. And hit us up in Slack chat when you do. We got a premium Slack chat. We'll show you around. So, Adam, 23.4% top stack probability for the Dodgers, 12.9% ownership.
Yeah, I think what really stands out is if you look at the individual ownership, they're really, really comparable to the Reds. And basically you're getting, so it's like, do you want, if they're going to be equally owned, do you feel better about your chances of winning a tournament with the team that has a 124 WRC plus and gets to hit in Coors Field, or the team with a 94 WRC plus hitting in favorable conditions, but not in Coors Field? Obviously I understand that Alex McRae is not as good as Kenta Maeda, but just from a raw upside standpoint, where with basically every individual hitter being similarly owned, I would just much rather have more ownership to the Dodgers and less to the Reds.
All right. Yeah, I guess that's fair enough. Alex, do you want to speak to that for a second? I know you talked a lot about Jon Gray, but do you think ownership's projected to be way too low on the Dodgers, or does this make sense to you?
I think it makes sense because the overall lineups that you're going to make with Dodgers, since they're priced up, are going to be in line with other lineups from other teams, because you're going to have to go to pitchers like Hesse that kind of stink. And I think that we're going off the premise that bats are more valuable than pitchers inherently, all the other things being equal. So I think that most people probably don't start off with that premise, so they're not reaching the same conclusion as us. They go more off the overall projection of their lineup.
Okay. That's Coors Field. Dodgers, Rockies. That one's in the books. We've got 2 to go here. Angels and the Detroit Tigers. Alex, the Tigers are just flat out trash. I mean, it is It is bad. They now have the highest K rate in the entire league against righties. They made the other day in that series against the Phillies, they made so many bad pitchers look so good. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen again today. What's kind of interesting about Jaime Barea is his numbers, his splits this year are very strange. He's faced 80 lefties and 90 righties. He has a 32.5% K rate against lefties. He's throwing the slider like 45% of the time and getting crazy numbers on it. And then against righties, he has a 12% strikeout rate, still throws the slider a ton, but isn't really getting those results. My guess is he starts seeing better strikeout numbers against righties and worse against lefties. He is going to face, a fair amount of righties today. At least that's what we're projecting. And he's going to have a lot of ownership. What are you doing with one Jaime Barea?
I think he's a good play today. I'm not over the moon with his potential. He has 22% Ks. Strikeouts for the Tigers lineup today are about 10% more than average. I suppose we don't have a confirmed lineup yet, do we?
No.
So I think
we don't have them.
It's a little bit tough to project, but if the projected lineup is similar to what I have, it's actually pretty good. Like the on base and ISO are just slightly lower than average, and the batting average is higher than your average team, which is kind of surprising. I guess this is maybe the best lineup they're rolling out. I think in August we'll really see that Tigers lineup that is really appealing to stack against or take pitchers against. But the thing I like about Barea is that his price point is kind of on the low end of the mid-range, and that allows you to get all those bats that you want. And tonight, the bats are much more appealing than pitchers.
Okay. Adam, I want to hear your thoughts on Jaime Barea.
He's my favorite of the mid-range pitchers. He's cheaper than Kelly. He's cheaper than Keller. And he's facing a Detroit team that, while they do have some righties in the lineup, which hasn't been his preferred split the entire time he's been in the majors, they are more like AAA righties than Major League righties. So I'm not overly concerned. Nick Castellanos will make a difference as well. It looks like he is expected to play today after scratching yesterday, but it wouldn't be really surprising if he sits. Like, the worst thing that could happen for the Tigers is him to start this game and then leave early with his abdominal tightness right before the trade deadline. So I like Barea if Castellanos is in, but I like him even more if Castellanos is out.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes plenty of sense. By the way, what do you make of what we've seen from him this year? I know last year you were pretty heavy on, Jaime Barea should be bad against lefties, and to a large extent he was. This year, the strikeouts, the splits, I get it, only 170 total batters faced, but they have been really extreme.
Yeah, it was the other way around. I liked him against lefties last year too.
Was it lefties? Oh,
yeah.
You're right. You know what? You're right. You're right.
Yeah, he's been like this pretty much ever since he came up. 200 plus expected ISO to righties since last year, 151 to lefties, higher strikeout percentage to lefties. But, again, when like those numbers aren't derived from facing Jacoby Jones, the corpse of Miguel Cabrera, Brandon Dixon, John Hicks as the righties. So, I'm not overly concerned about it.
Do you like any bats from Detroit before we get into the obvious Angel stack?
I would like Castellanos if he plays.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. What about if Jones is leading off?
I mean, you can, but I don't think it's really necessary.
All right. Alex, do you like any Detroit Tiger bats?
Yeah, I'll go to bat for Miguel Cabrera. I mean, he has an 8% ISO this year.
You need to go to bat for him because he ain't going to do it for himself.
Yeah, he would have more power if you went to bat for him.
But it's a DraftKings only play. He's 2,800. That's probably the lowest price I've seen in his career. And I mean, he's not that good this year, but that might even be selling him a little bit short.
Okay. Now let's talk about the Angels. I'll go to you here, Alex. Very high total for the Angels today. Depending on where you're looking, they're up around 7. 243 favorites at home. Yeah, Jordan Zimmerman on the mound for Detroit. It's going to get pretty messy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like some of these guys. It's tough always with the Angels, stack them up because all of their good players play outfield for pretty much. So you got Trout, Ohtani, Upton. Those are the higher owned plays of the team and the best. Trout in particular, like my highest projection on the slate, which shouldn't be that surprising, I guess. But even though Coors is on the slate, I mean, still the guy to go to, even though he's kind of at the max price on every site. But the stack as a whole might be a little bit harder to do because the other guys you're taking, David Fletcher, Andrew Simmons, Cole Calhoun. Well, Cole Calhoun, you'd have to take out one of the other guys.
Right.
Albert Pujols isn't really that appealing. So I think that they make a really nice mini stack, but the team stack might be more contrarian, but you also get some guys that aren't that good.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, Adam, when you look at the fact that this team has so many outfielders that are probably the 4 best or most appealing bats from this game always makes it a bit difficult.
Yeah, but it also is one of the reasons why I feel like I full stack the Angels every single slate because, I choose my lineups based on individual ownership. And so, in part. And so, obviously Trout, Ohtani, and Upton get a lot of it, but then you get to the guys like Simmons, Fletcher, Calhoun, everyone who's not Trout, Upton, Ohtani, and they come in, pretty low owned. So it gives me a stack of a team that has, a 6.5 implied run total facing Jordan Zimmerman and a terrible Tigers bullpen. And, the rest of the lineup isn't super appealing in terms of power. David Fletcher, a 108 WRC plus, Simmons at 98, and not a lot of power there, but they are also reasonably priced. Simmons, covers a weak position, and it's still just really bad pitching. So I do like getting to the Angels. I think that as far as optimally approaching it goes, it would be mini stacking, the obvious plays. But I do like getting the, some lower owned Pujols, Simmons, Fletcher, whoever.
All right, let's keep it going. San Diego, Baltimore, Adam, Chris Paddock, David Hesse. David Hesse, right now, the highest projected ownership on DraftKings. Isn't that just fantastic? 30% we've got him at. And then over on Yahoo, we're talking 2 pitcher sites here. Do we have him? I don't know if we even have him. I'll see what happens with the update. But either way, David Hesse looking to get a lot on DraftKings. Chris Paddock, obviously facing a Baltimore team that is not very good, but I'd be lying if I said they haven't shown some improvement, at least in the statistical categories lately, Adam. Their K rate has fallen, their WOBA has risen, their ISO has risen. Like, they're not good, but they also aren't the Tigers or the Marlins. Now, just to preface everything, I still think Paddock is a really good play, but his strikeout rate versus lefties and righties is pretty dramatic, like 21% against lefties, 31% against righties. And the Orioles have been running out a lot of lefties. We just got the lineup, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties. Yeah, that's not a very formidable lineup.
No, it's not. For the season, Baltimore against right-handed pitching has a 95 WRC plus on their active roster. But the one thing to keep in mind with Baltimore, and I've pointed it out when they face lefties, but it holds true to a lesser extent to righties, is that Chris Davis is factored into those numbers, and he's not in the lineup. So that automatically cuts their strikeout percentage and increases their hitting numbers. But not the most formidable lineup. It's a lineup where if you don't have good stuff, your good stuff, and you're making mistakes, they can punish you. But if you do have your good stuff, they're going to strike out still, and they're not going to pose much of a problem. Like Jace Peterson batting 5th is not something that opposing pitchers are overly concerned about. So I do think Paddock is the top pitcher without factoring in ownership, certainly on FanDuel. Really appealing price tag there. The only real negative for Paddock is that he's just not going to go deep into a game unless he's being really efficient. I don't think he's thrown 100 pitches all season long. I know he hasn't thrown more than 94 in his last 10 starts. He does still have the highest 2-strike percentage of any starting pitcher that's thrown at least 750 pitches this season, just ahead of Jacob deGrom, Clevenger, Scherzer, and Cole. So really, really good company up there. He's been a really good pitcher this year. And, it's not a bad matchup. So he's the pitcher I feel the safest about, but he still, has his own issues, especially where he's expensive.
Alex, talk to me about our guy Chris Paddock and then David Hesse.
I think Paddock is I mean, this spot is kind of ideal at home in 70-degree weather versus a lineup that's pretty bad at baseball. And when you throw in the fact that they're an AL team playing interleague, that's even better. And I think I agree. He just doesn't go as deep in games as a lot of other guys, but that's true of Caleb Smith and Sonny Gray as well.
Yep.
So I think that Korbin's really the only guy that has a track record of going a little bit deeper, but it's not even that much. So I think Paddock's probably the safe choice today, especially on FanDuel where he's the cheapest.
Yeah, when you look at batters faced per game, Gray's at like 22, Smith is 22, Paddock's 22, like you just said. They're all literally almost identical in that category.
Yeah, Gray's he's been given a little bit longer like playing time in the past few starts, so that might be a reason why you might be more optimistic about him. David Hesse, clearly the top pitching option of the slate, right?
Of course.
But the matchup is the park is really the factor here. Big upgrade from Camden Yards. And the price point's appealing on DraftKings. The Padres projected lineup strikes out a little bit more than average. So, still one of the lowest projections for any pitcher on the slate. But it's really a situation where you're just hoping he doesn't kill you and one of your stacks at Coors goes off or something.
Adam, David Hesse. What's good with David Hesse tonight?
Not a lot. I'll have both sides here. He's 4,100, and obviously that opens up a lot for you, especially because there's not a ton of opportunity cost in the mid-range. When you're talking about the mid-range options being two pitchers in Coors or Brad Keller or Merrill Kelly or even Jaime Barea, you're not sacrificing a lot by just dropping all the way down and hoping that you get double-digit points. But I also expect that I'll be getting to the Padres here. When we talked about popular pitchers on the slate, none of them project to be super popular to where I am going to be stacking a bunch against just good pitching. But Hesse isn't good. The Padres still have a 5.5 implied run total. They have a right-handed heavy lineup that strikes out a lot, but that also does have power. Since last season, Hesse has an 18.4% strikeout percentage against righties. He's allowed a 387 WOBA and a 281 ISO. His expected numbers aren't much better at 364 and 258. So still a pretty scary matchup there. And you look, at the Padres projected lineup, Fernando Tatis this year, 278 ISO against right-handed pitching. Franmil Reyes is at 300. Hunter Renfroe is at 289. Those are three guys, at the top or middle of the order that just have massive power here. And that's without even talking about Manny Machado or Eric Hosmer, guys that can do some damage. Chance Cisco can't throw out runners to save his life, which makes it appealing for guys like Tatis and Manny Margot as well. It's just a really, really high upside stack here that also gives you leverage on the field. So I think I'll get to a lot of the Padres.
All right. Quickly, Alex, any bats you like from this game?
I like the Padres stack on DraftKings where you get a lot of leverage on the field.
All right. Top stacks. Alex, who do you have?
I like the Dodgers and the Padres kind of playing both sides of that Hesse matchup.
All right. And where are you at here, Adam?
Those are the same as me. So to be different, I'll throw in Atlanta and the Angels.
All right. Before it's over, and it's over now, if you enjoy the show, you want to see more, and you want to help support us, the channel, and it also hit us with the thumbs up, like the video. It helps us out a lot. And of course, as always, we really do greatly appreciate all of the support. Subscribe and hit the notification bell as well, so you always know when new content is going to drop. Don't go anywhere. Stay right here on this exact page because Josh and Jake are coming up next, live before lock on right here. Don't go anywhere. Just chill out. Go get a drink, whatever you got to do, but stay here because live before lock's coming up next with Josh Engelman and Jake Harry. The three of us will see you back here tomorrow on the Deeper Dive. Good luck tonight.
in 2 seconds. Boom. There we go. Woo. Live before lock, Monday, July 29th. We have north of 1,000 people in here right now. We hit 1,100 on the deeper dive. It's great stuff. Jake, welcome back.
Thanks, man. Yeah. People saw a lot of you this weekend, so
They saw too
you guys
much
are
of
welcome.
me. They saw too much of me.
No, not enough. So you had to come back for more.
It's always too much of me.
I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see how this survey comes out, though.
Not going to come out well, but
I don't know. I think you're coming. It's coming out pretty well for you so far.
probably not a good thing to tell everybody right now.
No. But if people do want to fill that survey out, it is on the Nightbot.
Yeah, it's popping up on Nightbot every once in a while.
Yeah, so just help us help you and help us make some better content.
Exactly. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. This slate is not at all what you talked about this morning. It is very, very different now. So let's put it here. I'm looking at our most recent ownership projections, which came out a little bit ago, but it'll tell the story. How do you feel about Chalk David Hesse today?
Yeah, dude, it's going to be a fun one if we're going to have Chalk David Hesse. And I mean, I understand why Hesse is going to be chalk or chalky at least. I don't know if he's going to end up 30% depending on what stakes you're playing at. But for me, I'm playing both sides of that. I think the guys on the deeper dive said the same. I get it on both sides, and it's massive leverage if you can knock out 30% of the field. And it's also, you'd be dumb not to consider Hesse, at least if you're an MME player, at 4K going up against the strikeout heavy Padres team.
Yeah, I'm going to have a ton of Padres. That was probably going to be the case one way or the other, but now it's even easier. I'd rather just play Alex McRae if Hesse is going to be 30% owned. If I'm just grabbing 4K garbage, give me the one that isn't getting ridiculous ownership.
Well, yeah, give me some $5,500 garbage too, and give me any of the, just an array of Penwan and all these other guys, McRae, like you said. I think there's one more.
Jordan Zimmerman. I don't need him.
Yeah, I even got a couple shares of him.
I'll skip that one.
Some crunches.
I wouldn't be surprised if I got him.
I don't blame you for skipping out on Zimmerman. Like, these are some guys that if I was hand building a lineup and had to bet my life on, there's no way I'm, playing Jordan Zimmerman or McRae or
I agree.
Any of these.
Wholeheartedly agree.
But certainly not chalk David Hesse if you're playing single entry, I don't think.
It's blowing my mind. I'm really anxious to see what happens to that ownership. I just can't.
Like, do you think he gets to 30% in like the mini max? There's no way, right?
Honestly, I have no idea. I wouldn't have expected 30. Like, I would have expected 12. So it's already mentally broken to me. I don't understand how he's that high already. So I have no idea.
Yeah, he's it's like I said, I get it, but man, how are more people not just gonna go the other way if they're using our ownership projection? They're hearing us talk right now. So I don't know. Are you seeing this in YouTube chat? Interesting question. I don't think either of us factor this in, but
no. Go ahead, read it out.
Yeah, do you alter your exposure percentage at the trade deadline, especially with teams that are selling?
No.
I don't either, but I guess it's something I've never really thought about. So
if I lose a guy in the middle of the game, so be it.
Yeah. Like,
if they're in, then I'm playing it like it's normal.
I guess if I knew a guy was heavy, like being heavily shopped around, and let's say it was in Coors or something on a 7-game slate like this, then maybe you start to think about that, or you avoid him if you're hand building lineups because he might get dealt right before the game or during the game and get one at bat or something like that. But
what could that be worth? Like a half point at best in a projection system if you want to account for it. Yeah, there's no reason to care. I mean, if you're playing one lineup, maybe pay a little bit more attention, but there's no way if you're MMEing that you can pay attention to something like that.
No, I don't think so.
If you're just putting a single bullet in a single entry contest, then yeah. give it at least a cursory glance and think like, these guys gonna be on a different team shortly, like one Jason Vargas.
Right. Yeah.
Off to the Phils. That should go well.
Within the division, he'll probably throw a no-hitter against the Mets.
He should be real good in Philly. At least it's a great ballpark.
Aren't they like the worst park for righty power?
They're not. They're just great for all power.
Okay, I thought righty specifically. So
that sounds right to me. But I think it's like 106 to Philly or to lefties and like 114 to righties or something crazy. So good luck to that.
Smart move.
Okay, so we touched on David Hesse, whatever that is. We have 3 other guys north of 20%. Chris Paddock, Sonny Gray, Jaime Barea. Which one of those makes the least amount of sense to you?
The least amount of sense?
Yeah.
No, all those make sense, I think.
Okay, you lost me already.
So you think Barea doesn't make sense?
Correct.
I mean, he's not good, but man, Detroit is so bad. And if they don't have Castellanos in the lineup, they're even worse.
Yeah, that will matter a lot.
Yeah.
Because he's really bad against righties.
I kind of agree with a lot of the pitcher ownership. I just disagree with a lot of the hitter ownership. So I don't know. We will see. I'm not going to be super heavy on a lot of these aces, I don't think, or so-called aces.
I am going to have more Korbin on DraftKings than I thought I would now that I'm looking at it. Now that Hesse and McRae are available. At least I think that I will. But boy, oh boy, does that scare the hell out of me. That is not a fun spot, man. Not at all.
Well, at least you've got, like, with that lineup construction, at least you've got a Korbin or someone who's actually good. Whereas a lot of my lineups tonight are my SP1 is going to be Merrill Kelly or someone like that.
Oh,
like, it's bad.
I think I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah. So we'll see.
There's a lot of garbage at the bottom today. And yet we've got 2 guys that we need to talk about right now. Going completely overlooked. I know you're going to tell me you don't really have them. Thoughts on Kenta Maeda, Jon Gray?
I am getting to a little bit of Maeda. If you use the projections on our site, it's really tough to get to Jon Gray.
You don't think that 6 points for Jon Gray is going to be popping up all that often?
I don't. In fact, I got 0 of Gray. He's one of the only players. Actually, he might be the only player that has a value rating below. Yeah, he's the only guy below 1.
Yeah. Clearly scary matchup. A lot of lefty power. Coors Field. Massive run total. I'm going to have some.
Right. With that being said, I completely understand why people would get to him tonight.
6,200 on FanDuel, I think, is the really appealing spot.
Oh, on FanDuel? I think on DraftKings, like, you're looking for that 20 points where he might give up 3 runs, but he gets you 7 Ks in 6 innings or something like that, and maybe gets a win.
I'm going to have him in either spot, especially at 3% ownership or 1% on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Look, it fails way more often than it succeeds. There's no debating that for me. But if my alternatives are more David Hesse or Jordan Zimmerman or Chalk Barea, like, okay, I'm willing to take those chances at that point. At least Jon Gray's a good pitcher on normal days. The rest of those guys aren't.
Right. Gray is just a better pitcher than what he's priced at today. Yeah. You're getting a Coors Field discount. You're getting a discount because he's going up against the Dodgers. And yeah, it's a really, really tough matchup. It's going to fail a lot of the time, but it succeeds more often than 3% on DraftKings in this spot.
Yeah.
It might work out 1 out of 10 times or 1 out of 8 times or something like that. But that just means he's going a little bit under-owned, especially on a slate like this where you're playing bad pitcher. We're playing bad pitchers at chalk in bad spots.
Right. Like, at least I still expect Jon Gray to have strikeout stuff. A lot of these guys don't have that anyway. So it's interesting. Like, If you knew for a fact he was 3% owned, would you even bat an eye at getting 10%?
No, and I think we said, maybe I said on the strategy show this morning, and I think Adam agreed, like 8 to 12% if he's going to be under 5. That's a pretty decent edge on the field.
Yeah,
and you can still play a ton of Dodgers in your other lineups.
Yep.
If you're max entering, obviously don't play Gray and cash.
No,
like,
no.
No one's advocating for that.
Someone just asked about David Hesse in cash. I don't think that's a good play.
I don't think it's a necessary play.
There's not enough. Like, it's not like the pitching is that expensive that you need to go to Hesse. Like, go just use Sonny Gray and Barea or Paddock and Barea or something.
Yeah.
You'll be able to fill out a lineup.
I think if you go Paddock Barea, you're going to be able to make a pretty sound cash lineup.
Yeah.
There's value. There's value in Toronto. There's like you've got 3K Wilmer Flores as well. Like there's options for you to get cheaper bats.
For sure.
You're looking for more safety in cash. And you'd still be able to like fit in a couple Coors bats, I would imagine, with that pairing on DK.
Are you surprised that Dallas Keuchel is the lowest owned guy on the slate?
No.
Okay.
Did you play him last time?
No, I did not.
Neither did I. And that turned out really well for me.
What day of the week was that?
That was, let's see, the 23rd, so that'd be last Tuesday.
Yeah, for some reason, I think we had like house showings or something, so I didn't even play that day. But I wouldn't have had him anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
You weren't on live before lock.
Correct.
It was me and Chris, so that makes sense. And it was a 14 or 15 game slate, and there's just no way I'm getting to Keuchel on a 15 game slate.
Would you rather have Dallas Keuchel or Brad Keller?
Keller.
I figured as much.
You?
I mean, I'd rather have neither of them. It's not like Keller's a good fantasy option. To see him at 16% ownership right now is really surprising to me.
Yeah. I'd rather have Merrill Kelly.
God, all of these. Why do we keep saying all these names of people that are terrible?
Well, it's because it's all we've got to choose from today. It's really bad. It's all about the bats, I think, for me. It usually is anyways, but more so than ever when you get a slate with all this garbage pitching and everyone at the top's overpriced. I just put more weight into hitting.
It's brutal, man. It's so brutal. Is there a pitcher you like?
Paddock, I guess, is the closest thing.
Yeah.
Because he's got skill. He's got a pretty good matchup, low implied total against. He's a huge favorite. Like, he's got a bunch of pretty good things going for him tonight. But the problem is he doesn't go super deep into games.
Yeah.
And he's going to be owned. And that handcuffs a little bit of what you can do with the rest of your lineup construction. If you're trying to get 5 Dodgers bats in with Paddock, I mean, good luck.
He was my highest owned guy earlier today. I don't think that's going to be the case any longer. I think I'm just going to have like a pretty big spread between Smith, Paddock, and Gray. Ooh, just got an ownership update.
Yeah, Makad and chat all over it.
Always out in front of it. Makes me happy. Very, very, very helpful. So,
dude, what does Makad do? How does he know that? How does he know?
I'm assuming that Makad has some sort of notification script when the site gets a change. That's my guess.
Impressive.
Or just aggressively sitting there F5ing the site.
That's what I was thinking. Just like mashing the refresh button. Like, I don't know.
S ownership cut in half.
Okay. That's actually kind of what I wanted to see.
Not me.
I mean, I guess I didn't want to see that, but now it makes it more appealing as a pitcher. And it's going to make it so I don't have all the Padres in the world, and I just have a good amount of Padres.
I, on the other hand, was very happy about that 30% because I was just going to come in with 0.
So I just plugged in the ownership update and refiltered. And I went from getting 30% Hesse at 30% ownership to 60% Hesse at 16% ownership.
That seems like a great idea.
Yeah, this one's
It seems like since Hesse's ownership was cut in half, that you should double yours.
well, it makes sense if that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to rank that way.
That is
but
a lot of David Hesse.
it's going to come down. He's going to come up in the ownership projection.
Stabilize around 20 and change.
I would 20 is kind of the number I had in my head.
Yeah.
And so like I just changed one tiny thing on the filters and now I'm down to 45% with basically the same hitting exposure.
That'll work.
Yeah. So I mean that's perfect.
I'm hoping I get 0.
0? You're going to miss out on this on a Coors night?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I'll play McRae. I'll play somebody else. I'll get to Coors in a different way.
Okay, but now McRae, let's see what McRae's at.
He's at 3.
He's only at 3. Okay. That's fine. I'm basically treating him like what I said about John Gray, but a guy I'm actually getting to.
John Gray, 2% now. He went down.
Yeah, man.
It just feels like a really easy day to be different.
Oh, yeah. On slates like this when everyone's freaking out, these are the best.
I hope so. Making me feel dumb right now.
Well, I would never not get to some Hesse on this slate.
Oh, see, I have no problem not getting to Hesse. If David Hesse is the guy that costs me today, I am willing to live with that decision.
It's not going to be Hesse that costs you, though. Like, it's going to be...
It might be, man.
Okay, yeah, if he gets you 15, you're probably going to need to have him. How many pitchers actually reach 15 points?
What's more likely? He gets you 15 or 0?
0.
Okay.
I don't think it's that far off.
No, I think it's pretty close.
I think maybe like, I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out, but maybe like 60-40 or 70.
I was going to say, it feels 50-50-ish.
Yeah. So I'll take that chance at respectable ownership.
Oh, God, this is going to be such a fun night. I'm so pumped for it. Okay,
Well,
so go ahead.
No, I'm going to have both sides of it. So a lot's going to rest on what happens here because it's still a good leverage spot for the Padres.
Yeah. And
they project pretty well for us without factoring in leverage. And then you've got a 4K pitcher. So if Coors is and these other expensive stacks do what they're supposed to do, I'm going to be sitting okay regardless.
Sure. This is turning into I'm glad all of these trades and stuff happened. That's super helpful. Like, it was a much different slate when I looked at it this morning, and not a very appealing one, I might add. Now it's not very appealing, but at least the pieces fit together in a better way.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, so let's sift through Korbin, Smith, Paddock, and I guess John Gray. Paddock is your guy of those 4?
Paddock's my guy of those 4. He's got obviously the best price on DK. He's by far my favorite guy in FanDuel, but I don't think that's a hot take at all.
No, not at all.
He's just underpriced. Or I guess he's fairly priced. He's, like I said, he's the guy who's got the most things going for him as far as talent, matchup, being a huge favorite in a decent park. He's kind of got everything working tonight. And it's not like he's crazy overowned. 30% right now. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
The rest of the guys are quite a bit behind Paddock for me. He's clear number 1. Then it's Korbin, distant 2, Gray 3, or I'm sorry, Smith 3, Gray 4, but very little amounts of both of the last 2.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where Sonny Gray pops out for me. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to break. I have Paddock and Gray pretty similar on a dollar for dollar basis. Alex is a little bit lighter on Gray tonight. Could shake out. Like, the matchup is just so bad, but at least it's just bad from a strikeout perspective and not necessarily from like a game perspective. A lot of these guys, like Corbin's, is just downright scary. You're not scared of Sonny Gray's matchup. You just know that the Pirates don't strike out all that often.
Yeah, I think Gray, like, he might pitch well in real life, but he might only get you 3 or 4 Ks
Right.
in 6 innings. And I just think it's a really low upside spot, even for a pitcher. I think is obviously very talented, and he's also a huge favorite and stuff. But the strikeouts are brutal. Trying to like watch your pitchers against Pittsburgh.
Oh man, Kenta Maeda and John Gray are going to dictate my entire slate.
Yeah,
And that's not to say that I'm not on the hitting either, because I very much am. I want to have all of it. I want to have both sets of bats and both pitchers. That seems like the highest variance game today.
Oh yeah, I was saying this morning the largest range of outcomes game when you get 2 good pitchers in Coors, but a huge total and the weather's crazy. If they get knocked out early, anything could happen, or they could just miss a ton of bats, and the winning combination could be Gray Maeda with a 5-man Angel stack, all the expensive guys, and then leveraging against Hesse with your other 3 Padres.
God, that'd be craziness.
I don't even think it would be that crazy.
It would surprise me if both guys in that game were in the winning lineup.
Yeah, probably.
All right, 624. We still have 1,000 people in here. Don't be afraid to hit that like button. It's very helpful. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Use the promo code LIVEBEFORELOCK. One big word. You can get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Any package you choose. Any monthly package you choose. If you want to sign up, use the promo code LIVEBEFORELOCK. Rosha was saying, who are you pairing with Gray and Maeda for bats? I don't know. Padres, Angels, the opposite of those other guys. So, if it's Maeda, then Rockies. I like the Braves. Those teams, I guess.
Yeah, the good ones.
Yeah. The other good ones.
Yeah.
I'll find garbage to fill out somewhere else, I think.
There's a lot of that to fill out here. Yeah, wow, this is going to be a fun one when you look at your pitching exposures, and David Hesse, Jaime Barea, and Thomas Pennant are the highest owned pitchers for you.
Yeah, my pitching ownership is going to look just a hair different than yours. Just a little bit.
How different are we talking here?
Probably inverse. I mean, how much Maeda and Gray do you have total?
Maeda went down because his ownership went up quite a bit. He's double digits ownership.
11%. Yes.
Yeah, that's so. So I didn't see that. That must have come up a little bit because now I'm getting more Rockies because it's obviously a more leverage if more of the field has Kenta Maeda. But yeah, before I was getting to like 8%. Now I'm at 1.
Okay.
For that ownership update. So
I'm guessing I end up with 30 to 40 combined between the two.
Oh man.
That's a hunch. I don't know that. I won't mind or try to fix it.
No. I don't think you should. Oh, Will Smith in the lineup for the Dodgers.
Ooh, Dodgers getting jiggy with it tonight.
Yeah, I think you've made that joke already once before.
I'm sure I make it every time that
when I've been on
I
the
hear
show.
that.
Yeah.
Do you think we get the 3 lineups we need before this is locked?
No, the Angels have been pretty stingy.
The Tigers one is the only one I truly care about. I mean, I really like the Angels. Like, I'm going to have a lot of Angels and Padres, but knowing Castellanos is in the game or not is very important to me.
Oh, for sure. That's. I mean, he's the best bat on Detroit, and Barea is a popular pitcher and one we both want to play. So that's. I think we're going to probably get the Tigers lineup. For whatever reason, the Angels just have been super late.
Pain in the ass.
And it's never like the right lineup either. Like they won't have Calhoun in or someone like that.
Yeah, they've been dropping one guy. I don't mind so much if it's one of the outfielders, but when it was like 3 or 4 nights ago and Simmons didn't play, that one sucked.
Yeah, I was swapping for a while after we got off the show. I think I was on the show that night. But
It took me like a full 40 minutes to fix all of those mistakes.
yeah.
One of the sites, they didn't have a shortstop, so it like you really had to go in there and dick around.
Yeah, I
think it was FanDuel.
Like Artiega or someone like that.
Right.
Terrible.
All right, 6:27. Do you have any further pitching thoughts you want to get to?
Any guys we haven't talked about here? I'm getting to some Merrill Kelly, I said, and then Penon. I'm at 35% right now.
Okay, so then if I get to 20% John Gray, I would much rather be me than you.
Fair enough. Penon sucks.
Yeah.
And Gray doesn't. So, and Gray's lower owned, and yeah, it's just a matchup thing. And Penon is a little bit cheaper also. So that's partly why I'm getting to him.
Yeah, that's helpful. Royals lineup, not exactly scary.
No. Not without Mondesi.
I was really hoping to get one more lineup, but it's dong picks time. We're close enough, at least. Check out a tweet at our at the Osimo handle right now. We've set odds to see who's going to win, and I am in second in the votes right now. It looks like the line looks pretty good for old Chubster here. I think EMAC was set minus 300. Felt aggressive, but I don't know. We'll see. So go ahead.
So I posted in chat. He's held it down basically all season. So
yeah. So here are the current stats. You ready?
Let's hear it.
EMAC has 21 correct picks. You have 18. I have 17. Chris has 15. But the key piece I should remind everybody of, I have the second highest correct picks rate. I'm ahead of you now. So I might just punt the rest of the season, not make another pick, and just finish in second there.
You could, but I'm getting a double dong tonight, so.
Okay. Chris is bringing up the rear, by the way. But everybody knows already.
Yeah.
So
goes without saying, right?
You lead me, so you are up. Feel free to make your dong pick.
All right.
Please don't take my guy.
Well, we can't take Coors, so let me drop down to like my 12th owned hitter.
I'm nervous you're going to take my guy.
If the stupid Padres lineup was out, I'd make a pick now because I'll probably forget to change it back if my guy's out. But
somebody will remind you.
Yeah, I know so you're not taking a Padre then, obviously.
You don't know that.
What's that?
You don't know that. I just don't think you would. It's not important right now.
I will take Ohtani.
God damn it! Are you serious?
Yeah. Had a feeling. Shouldn't let me go first.
I have to let you go first.
Double dong coming for Ohtani. Oh, this is going to be so sweet. Dude, he's going to be the most picked player in our Diddy Dong pool.
I don't know. EMAC might have made that Dan Vogelbach on his own.
Yeah.
Oh, you dick. I didn't even have another one in the chamber. That's the worst part.
Yeah, I've been on quite a cold streak lately.
Oh. Looking at my notes now. I'm shook. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that at all.
Padres lineup's out now, someone's saying. So
if you want to switch over to the Padres, you can.
I'm good. I'll take my double, maybe triple dong for Ohtani. Okay, Will Myers in.
Yeah, let me look at that Padres lineup quick.
So no Margot, no. The guy I was actually going to take is not in the Padres lineup. It was Mejia. So
okay,
wouldn't have mattered. I obviously wouldn't have been able to take Ohtani because he would have taken him. But
yes, I would have. I need to make a pick now. I have this list here in front of me, and I can't find a single soul that matches up really well for it.
Chris Baggs is taking Mike Trout.
Really?
The cheat code.
He'll embrace his inner Josh. Like I take Trout all the time. Come on now. That's ridiculous.
Has anybody taken Trout this year?
I took him once.
Okay, yeah. So you were the only one. You took him one time. No, me and Emac haven't taken Trout. But I have taken Ohtani. Let's see. 1, 2. All right. This is my 4th Ohtani pick.
All right. You said the Padres lineup is out? I'll take Manny Machado.
Good pick. Hope he dongs.
You and me both. You and me both. Yeah. All right. I'm fine with that. Manny Machado. Put it on the board. I spelled Ohtani's name wrong in our sheet. I put Shuhei. All right. So I am in with Manny Machado. Chris, everyone's hero, taking Mike Trout. Ohtani to Jake. Where's Eric? Oh, Randon on Renfroe.
All right. Renfroe, okay. Who do you think Emac's going to take?
I don't know. Who's the heaviest guy at the top of a home run list?
Emac's probably taking Puig, actually.
Yeah, maybe. I honestly, I really, really, truly did think about taking Bellinger here.
But you can't.
I know. I know. I was going to pitch you guys for it. I was going to be like John Gray, but he doesn't have enough ownership to make it like worthwhile.
All right. I'd be a little more bold and pick Bellinger in 90-degree Coors. Truly a brave man.
All right, Padres lineup. I'm going to wait 5 more minutes and then I'm going to crunch.
Yeah.
Because of the size of the slate, I'm not too worried about it. It'll move pretty quick.
Yeah, we won't have an issue. Projections, rankings just updated.
Nice. All right, so let's talk hitting. Top stack right now for you.
Right now, what's that?
Dodgers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Dodgers. But it was by a mile, probably like an hour and a half ago when I first started crunching. Now they're right there with Colorado because the Maeda ownership's come up a little bit. So I'm pretty excited. Coors Field, both teams going under-owned relative to their chances of being the top stack. I don't see outlandish ownership for anyone that I have to like fade on either side. So I love Coors tonight. That's why I'm playing all the David Hesse and Thomas Pennon.
Emacs got Puig.
That's what I'm saying. Wow.
Pulled over the car to make a pick. Come on, Emac. You know you should have just been texting and driving.
Yeah, that's what all the cool kids do, right?
You ain't cool unless you text and drive. God, I can't type today.
Is that a Billy Madison reference? I think I actually know that one.
It is. I mean, they weren't texting and driving then.
Yeah. I think it was wasn't like 01 when that movie was made?
01?
Is that right?
Way before that.
Was it? It
was in Madison? I would have said 96 maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all the same for me before like 2005.
February 95. That came out and I was, hold on. What was the date? I had just turned 10 years old. No, it came out 2 days before my birthday. I was 9 years old when that movie came out.
You want to know how old I was?
Not alive or one. I don't know how old you are. I keep forgetting.
Not quite 1 year old.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was in that ballpark.
Not quite.
Okay, so Coors is going to be your baby for tonight from a hitting perspective. Anybody else standing out? Let's go with this one. How do you feel about the Reds, Chuck?
I get why. So they're good point per dollar value. I get all that, but I'm below the field on them as a full stack, especially. Like I have some Puig, I've got some Scooter Jeanette and all like the value plays, but they're just not a lot of red stacks for me. What about you?
I am going to actively avoid them.
Actively avoid them?
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say that?
I'm going to make sure that I don't get anywhere remotely close to 14% aggregate ownership on the Reds.
Seems a bit high.
Yeah, and I'm not nearly high enough to think it's a good idea. But no, it's just they're overowned.
Yeah, that's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Overowned and
I mean, clearly I'm interested, but I can't be interested at that ownership. It's too high for me.
It's just why does this continually happen where these people just pay too much attention to value in baseball? That's got to be what it is. Point per dollar.
Well, when you load projections in, they're not adjusted in any way to make it any different for you.
I suppose people got to start using those fancy target scores and stuff like that.
Something like that.
Actually, no, they don't. Just plug in the projections and let it ride. Don't even stack, right?
Exactly. Full naked stacks will get you so much further in life than you could ever imagine.
That's what they say.
I'm going to start crunching now just in case. Just to have something in the chamber in case it works out well. I'm hoping that if I start early, I'll get good vibes and they'll just have those lineups and it'll be correct.
That'd be pretty nice.
Yeah. I feel like that's impossible, but I'll take my chances.
These damn Angels, man. It's like whoever they're playing against plus themselves, they just don't want to put a lineup out.
I feel like it's every single day, even if they're not even on the West Coast.
Yeah. It's like 5 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
Just pop out a lineup.
Alrighty. Let's click crunch. Here we go. All right, I've got things moving. So yeah, I'm on the same page there with Reds ownership. Another team picking up some ownership. The Washington Nationals. You getting any Nats here against Keuchel?
Basically no Nats. I guess the issue with them is just that if I'm getting up into like the mid-tier range, I'm not getting up into the mid-tier range. I'm either paying like all the way up for bats or taking some of these value guys like on Cincinnati and Toronto. I wouldn't be shocked if they're the best stack tonight or anything like that. I don't think they're a bad stack even against Keuchel. And I like Rendon quite a bit. I like Soto for 4,300 against basically anyone, especially a guy in Keuchel who doesn't miss a lot of bats.
Unless it's last week.
Why? What was last week?
Keuchel missing a lot of bats.
Oh yeah. I mean, is he ever even going to have a 10 strikeout game
In the rest of his career? I would bet no, probably.
Yeah, I don't think so. So maybe he does it tonight. Maybe he shocks us all and he's a brand new pitcher. But yeah, Soto and Rendon are kind of the two pieces I want, and they're not grading out all that well. Plus, you're not getting any leverage off of Keuchel because he's not getting ownership.
Right.
There's teams that are priced better or have way higher implied totals than them. Detroit lineup's out.
Really?
Fantasy Cruncher just gave me the alert that Detroit's lineup is out.
I haven't seen it yet, but if that's the case, let me know if it's the same or not. I went with the old close refresh later.
I'm gonna do a Twitter search and see if it came out.
Yeah, I don't see it yet.
I don't know where Fantasy Cruncher gets their lineup confirmation from.
Neither do I.
That would help, but I don't see anything on Twitter right now. Sometimes a beat writer will post it.
Yeah, sometimes people are pulling it out of a picture of a board in a dugout or something.
Yeah.
But no, I still don't see it yet. So
looks like it's not out just yet. Maybe Fantasy Cruncher quick on the trigger, but hopefully we get that one soon. Do we have any concerns about the weather in Washington?
I don't.
Because I don't either.
No, I don't.
I'm letting it ride.
Yeah, until I see something coming from Awesemo Weather, I'm not going to be worried about it.
Awesemo Weather's been pretty good this season.
Awesemo himself has been pretty good this season.
God, I know people are annoyed about us talking about it, but it's absurd.
I mean, if we stopped talking about it, it would mean that he wasn't doing well, you know?
Right. He'll probably have like a 2-day cold streak, and then back to winning 200K. It was on Friday instead of just the typical 100K.
Yeah, the normal pedestrian 100K.
Peasant money is what he calls it.
We got ownership update a minute ago, which is
All right, cool.
fantastic. I'm going to put that in there, load in my FanDuel lineups, and we're going to have something to talk about.
So I haven't looked yet, but where do you think Hesse is at?
I already have it in front of me.
Oh, okay. I would say like 22.
You would be wrong, but super close.
20. Okay, 21. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came up a little bit. So I'll get a little less of Hesse, a little more Padres than what I was getting a few minutes ago. That's really good, actually. Did not want to be having over half my lineups with David Hesse.
No, is that not appealing to you?
No, that's very unappealing.
What do you know? All right, I've got 600 FanDuel lineups done. Let's take a peek here. See where we end up. Almost done DK as well. Look at this. I love these shorter slates.
Yeah, until we get Trout and Ohtani out for the Angels, and then all of a sudden now we're playing Jordan Zimmerman at 50% ownership.
All right, I'm going to refresh FanDuel. Here we go. Let's take a peek. Team McBee just pasted the Tigers lineup into our premium Slack.
Okay.
With Castellanos in, but
Nice.
no confirmation yet.
So this is the lineup FC had. I'm also seeing it from another source now. Okay. That is, yeah. So FC had it correct. So they must get it from somewhere else. Nice. Harold Castro, Hicks, Mercer,
Jones, Goodrum, Cabrera, Castellanos. Okay, so no Dixon. And that's it, right?
I think so. Moral of the story, it is still a bad Tigers lineup, but a little bit
Mercer in for Dixon is the swing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, let's see if that matters. FanDuel exposures to start. Nothing too crazy. Actually, only 0% John Gray on FanDuel, so maybe I'm going a little nuts. 9% to Maeda. Pitching exposure just looking pretty much like the field. Hitting, something's wrong in here. What is wrong with the Blue Jays, and why will this not add up? Oh, it's going to be Bichette, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably is. You don't have him in your name database.
Well, no, I have him in. He's just not available on FanDuel today.
That'll do it. Tom just sent us where FC gets their lineups from, so that makes sense. I never go on that site anymore.
Neither do I.
Yeah. But sometimes they're quicker than other places.
I need to figure out why Bichette is jacking this up on me.
I'm just waiting for a projections update. I'm guessing we're going to get one in the next few seconds, and then I will restart my crunches. What do we have, 20 minutes before lock here?
Yeah, we have a ton of time.
19 minutes, only 7 games. Cruncher's going to be cruising. So I'm not going to be in any hurry to get anything in here. All right.
Oh, okay. So that's a really weird reason for that to be happening. At least I figured out why it's happening.
Wow.
Oh, did I get any of Boner from the Tigers? Do I even need to care about this right now? I probably did, so probably important.
Who's that?
I got 8% Brandon Dixon, so gonna need to recrunch.
Oh yeah.
Not that I'm upset about it. Again, it'll move quickly.
Okay, we just got a projections update now. Perfect time. Cool.
There we go. We got this, Jake. It's gonna be a normal Monday today.
No, I don't think we're gonna be scrambling. I think Cruncher's moving really quickly.
So all we need is the Angels lineup at this point.
Yeah.
Lovely. Nothing can go wrong there.
Where have we seen this before? Only needing the Angels lineup, it'll probably come out at 7:45 Eastern. It actually did that one day. It was like 6:30.
Yeah.
Or 7:30 your time. And I was like, what are we possibly waiting for?
That was the Simmons one, I think.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was, because I like went to go get food. I think I got Chipotle or something, and it's like 10 minutes away from my house, and came back and there still wasn't an Angels lineup. I was like, what are we doing?
I can go for some Chipotle right now, but I had Mexican for lunch, so can't double up. Not that Chipotle is like naturally Mexican.
No, it's not.
It's pretty much American.
Yeah, it's Americanized Mexican food, but it is damn good. That's where I'm going right after I get off the show.
I had some huevos con chorizo today. It's very good.
That sounds like real Mexican food.
It was very good.
All right. So I'm going to go, yeah. Are you still just doing 4-4 and 4-3 on FanDuel?
Yeah.
Okay. Me too. I didn't know if I should be doing 4-2s. I don't know, like 4-2 and then naked.
I haven't been.
I haven't been either. I don't know. It's just hard without lineup study for FanDuel being loaded up.
For sure.
To know.
Yeah, I definitely want to dig into it,
Yeah.
I only get a couple every now and again.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Recrunching FanDuel again. Here goes nothing.
Wow. Arizona looks like a really good play based on their ownership. Escobar at sub 1%, highest owned player is at 3%. Yeah, I haven't heard any talk about Arizona the entire day.
I have no interest.
They don't project well enough even to get into that low tier of stacks for me where I get like 5% of them. So that's why I'm not getting to them. But if they're under owned based on their stack percentage, then why not?
Yeah, I do not anticipate having them in any way. But that's fine.
Do you see they're rolling out tickets on DK for a bunch of NFL contests?
Are they really?
It's crazy. Yeah.
I don't need those tickets.
What's that?
I don't need those tickets.
Why wouldn't you?
Because the less I play the NFL, the better.
Oh, man. I'm pumped for NFL. I get like, 3 or 4 slates per Sunday that I could lose money. And then the Thursday night plus the Monday night showdown. There's going to be 2 showdowns for Monday, the first Monday of the season, if they still do that. I mean, what's not to like? Plus, we got a bunch of content for it.
I love the content. We're churning it out at a aggressive rate. Spags, Nolan, Laffy. Who am I missing?
Spags, Nolan, Laffy, Alex.
Oh, yeah, and the boss himself.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't count. Everybody knows stuff's coming from him.
He's got his projections out, so if you guys want to check those out, week 1 projections are out on the site. Obviously, they will change and they'll get updated, but took a peek, got me pretty excited for NFL. People complaining about NFL and premium Slack.
Never happens.
The prize pools, I just forget every year how insane the prize pools are. It's just like $200K to first on a $3 on DK. I'm sure FanDuel will roll out something similar. We're going to probably get management free tournaments on Yahoo as well. So what's not to like about football?
Everything. Football, you mean America's or the world's game of soccer? Yeah, we're going to have those too. So that starts up in like a week and a half.
What was it, like Premier League?
Yes. Is it like Premier League? Come on.
That's the only league I know of. I don't watch it. I probably should watch it. I need to get into DFS though for it.
So
Garneau, I know I should. Garneau in for Kevin Smith, Rengifo out for Tice. Is that his name? Tice?
It is now.
Okay, so he
Game
is
time.
a third baseman.
We've got 13 minutes. That feels like enough time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be enough.
We're about to find out, though.
Yeah, classic. Freaking Angels, man.
I had just started running another crunch. Are we getting any questions or anything?
Let's see here. people complaining about NFL.
Yeah, those people are smart.
Ooh, did you just drop a sneak peek or a little nugget about soccer stuff?
That maybe is more of a maybe than it seems.
Oh, okay. Is Hesse now the chalk SP2? He's one of them for sure. I don't know about the chalk SP2, but he's up there. So
I desperately need a certain site to update with this lineup.
yeah, I've been there before.
David Fletcher, Mike Trout, Ohtani, Upton, Cole Calhoun, Albert Pujols, Andrelton Simmons. Typing it in myself. Tice, Dustin Garneau. That's not how you spell that. Greau. Got it. Alrighty. I would have liked more time here. I'm not gonna lie.
Just amazing how this happens every single time. Would you leave Bellinger or Muncy out? Neither, but I did get a lot of Muncy and not quite as much Bellinger. So there you go. Can we put another Osmo host on The Bachelor? Maybe. Like I've said multiple times, people have been saying, "Why don't you go on?" Well, I don't think my girlfriend would appreciate that. Also, not really a show I would want to be a part of. I do like watching it as entertainment, but I actually don't want to be made a complete joke of by the internet. Internet people can be mean. I don't know if you know this, Josh.
No, not familiar.
Yeah.
Not familiar.
Like Reddit, if you're familiar with Reddit, there can be certain threads where people are just mean for a lot of times no reason.
That's the internet for you, man. That's the point of the internet, to be mean without a reason. That's why the internet exists, isn't it?
I suppose so. All right, projections are updated. But I don't know. Who do you think would be maybe Spags? Spags might.
I would do incredible on that show.
You think so?
No, it would be awful. I would tell everybody to suck it the first day, and then they'd throw me right off. I would be insufferable like I am every other day.
No, I don't think you're insufferable.
Eh.
Insufferable? That's like, I don't even know. I don't even want to give an example. I don't have one off the top of my head, but
yeah, it's me.
No, you're not insufferable.
You're craziness. That's craziness. We put that to a vote. I'm going to win like 80-20.
Or if you word it like that, yeah,
that's true.
Because the sample you'll get is people, I can't stand Josh Engelman, so I'm going to vote.
I'm really getting nervous about getting these lineups in now.
Come on, Vots. What's wrong with St. Charles? It's a good town. I don't know.
All right. Advanced. Nope, I need to upload. Yeah, this is going to be a tight squeeze now.
Yeah, it is. 9 minutes left. I think.
My only saving grace is that I know that it's going to go like quickly.
Right. How many runs will the Dodgers score? I got 12.
North of 6.
You think?
I mean, the total's 6. So my guess would be north of 6.
I am projecting an outlier performance here for the Dodgers. I think they're going to go nuts. Got to get John Gray out early, of course, but they're going to be going off and hitting a lot of dongs. At least I hope so. More wishful thinking than anything, but we'll see.
I've come to the conclusion that my least favorite part of getting my lineups together are cleaning up the upload template. Like just making sure that I download it and like have everything in order so that I can paste immediately into it is my new least favorite thing in the world.
I'm trying to picture what that would be like. So I guess we must upload differently then.
Like I have all these like 20 max contests and 3 max and everything,
okay.
all like interspersed in between 150 different lineups and other contests. I just wish it came out and I could like sort it based on the way that I want it to be without having to like do it myself.
So, you mean with like filters?
No, just like I wish it just came out in order of like most important to least important or something.
Well, it depends on what you deem most important.
I deem the Minimax most important. I don't deem the 10-cent satellite to the MMA contest to be all that intriguing, you know?
Well, just what I do is I put filters on and then I sort by entry fee and just
Sure.
go straight down.
Well, so I'm in satellites that have a higher entry fee than the Minimax today, so it becomes problematic. It's just a pain in the ass.
As long as your 150 and your Minimax are all in the same order, then you're going to be fine. You're still going to get those 150 in there if you're paid correctly.
I guess.
So,
whatever.
All right, let's see where my DK exposures are at. This should be interesting. Wow, Colorado jumped way up for me, and then LA, and then San Diego. Ownership just got updated, actually. So let me
I need that desperately.
Let me post this in. We're at 7 minutes to lock. We're going to do this. At least I am. I hope you do.
I mean, I'm going to get everything in. I'm not going to be able to make the same tweaks that I would have liked to make.
Right. Okay. DK. All right, let's see where we're at. Yeah, all right. Nothing huge changed, it looks like. But now Hesse. Ooh, I'm only at 24% Hesse. That's something I can get behind. Don't really want Hesse deciding my night.
No?
I can avoid it. Yeah. As crazy as that sounds. Okay.
Shocked. Color me shocked.
Wow, I'm getting more KC than I imagined too. Pinon must have come up a little bit. Wow.
How are you looking? You gonna be good?
Oh yeah. I'm perfectly fine. The Angels came down for me though a bit. That's not really what I wanted. Let's see. 6.
Man, I'm gonna be in some trouble.
No, you're not. You got this.
I haven't exported anything yet.
How long does your exporting process take?
I don't know, minute and a half.
Yeah. Well, I got Cam Gallagher twice for some reason.
Who?
Yeah. Exactly.
I truly don't even know.
Okay. Let me. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. So I think the projections left some team out, possibly.
That's not fun.
No, I think we're back to normal though.
All right, 700 DraftKings lineups done. Crunch DK, export. Let's save just in case this goes tits up. You never know. You never know.
All right, so
we are under 5 minutes. We are at 7 o'clock, guys. So if you're scrambling, scramble faster.
Okay.
700 FanDuel lineups. Finite.
Why'd you do 700 today?
I ran out of time.
Okay. Oh, so you usually do more than that?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
11% Maeda, 8% Gray.
Wow.
I am in no way, shape, or form okay with these exposures right now. So,
wait, which Gray? Sonny?
Yeah, no, John.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm posting in my DK lineups right now, and then I still haven't touched FanDuel as far as ranking yet, so we will see how that goes. Also, don't have the template downloaded, so that's fun. Okay, everything's updated. Let's see what we got going on here. Refresh again. Oh, Alex did fix the guys that he didn't have in. I did 600 FanDuel lineups today and 304 threes, 304 fours. I have not been playing well on FanDuel, but Alex also said that. At least that's what Adam told me. Alex said that a few weeks ago, and then he binked. He's binking everything over there. So maybe that'll be me.
I'm gonna take an absolute bath tonight. I can feel it already. Not liking my crunches.
No.
I have no time to make tweaks, so it is what it is now.
God, that's so annoying.
I bring it on myself.
No, it's these lineups. Because like, if you can get all the lineups while you're crunching, you would of course want to have that. So like in my Angel stacks, I have no what's his name? I have no Tice because I couldn't crunch in time to get him in there. So I'm gonna have to go swap him out and make suboptimal plays probably because it can't just do it in XL either because he's not a first base or he's not a shortstop, second base like what Rengifo was.
How does Alex do this? I mean, I guess not being on the show is helpful for sure.
It's still, I mean, I can't imagine. I would have panic attacks.
Yeah, for real.
For sure.
I'm about to have one right now. I haven't even loaded my FanDuel stuff in 7:03. I have to just take whatever pops up right now.
Yeah. Wow, I got so many Rockies.
I have so much of teams that I didn't want, and basically no Dodgers or Angels, the two teams I wanted the most.
So, oh God. So much Trevor Story. Okay, so my pitchers, no one got over 40%. That's the good news. Korbin actually shot way up on on DraftKings for me. I don't know how that's possible.
I have to just take whatever FanDuel spit out right now.
Man.
Baseball stinks, man. This is miserable. I have like 25% Tigers right now somehow.
Really?
Yeah. We don't have to say that like I tried to do it.
No, I know. But
Fully unintentional.
wow, Korbin must have come up in something. Like his projection must have shot up a little bit, or there was a line change or something like that. Because I was getting to like 10%, and I got up to 30. Okay.
There's no way this is going to work. But Josh, if you can pull this off, be happy.
You got 25 seconds.
It might be enough time, honestly.
Wow. Okay. A lot of Merrill Kelly on FanDuel. Actually, couple of Hesse shares.
Okay. Well, I don't have that much Tigers now, but I don't know what I ended up with.
Okay.
Oh, I dropped it a little bit, but I have garbage tonight. This should be fun. I don't have the Reds, so I'm happy about that, and I don't have the Nats, and I'm happy about that. But I just have way too much. Well, I've got a ton of Padres, a ton of Braves, too much Tigers. I have no Dodgers and Angels on DraftKings, essentially. I couldn't get to it somehow. Did not end up with nearly as much Maeda or Gray as I wanted, 12 and 10%, but I think I'm okay with that. Way too much Merrill Kelly. No Hesse, no McRae.
No Hesse.
No Hesse.
DK.
1%.
That's crazy.
Well, I thought I was going to get a bunch of Alex McRae.
Yeah, I got 13% McRae on DK.
I have 30% Korbin, 38% Paddock, 27% Gray, 15% Caleb Smith. So I paid up for pitching, but unfortunately, I also doubled the field on Merrill Kelly, one of my least favorite players of the day.
Could not be more opposite of you.
Yeah,
besides,
I'm unhappy with DraftKings. I'm happy with FanDuel. I don't have much of a problem with my FanDuel hitter exposures. Just slightly under the field on the Dodgers. I'm with the field on the Angels, but still massive amounts of Pods and Rockies, Braves. I just have too much Tigers. So
it's crazy how much things shift.
I faded the Reds, Chuck, so I'm okay with that.
Did the Angels come way up in ownership projection on some of their guys?
I don't know.
Because they plummeted for me. Still got the Trout and Ohtani. But oof, that's not what I expected. Just all in Coors Field for me, I guess. Both sides.
I just have like a staggering amount of Tigers.
I mean, Barea's not good, so
yeah. Maybe I'll look like a genius later, but I have 15% Nick Castellanos on FanDuel. We have him projected for 1. Just that play alone, I'm okay with.
Yeah, that's a good play.
Alrighty, this should be fun. Hit the like button. Thanks for joining us for 2 straight hours. You guys got to 1,118 people at one point during the deeper dive. We can't beat that at all. Thank you guys for joining us. Jake, do you have anything else?
Good luck tonight, guys. Let's take down some tournaments. Hoping to see some screenshots in the Osmo support inbox with the Osmo Rock the Avatar contest tomorrow.
I have mine there. Can I get a free month if I bank a tournament?
I think you're doing okay on free months.
That's true.
So,
alrighty, everybody. Thank you for joining us. One of us is taking down something tonight. I have a good feeling, and it's probably Jake. So, best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Adios.